Hi, I'm Fook with Alpha B Group, and today we'll be talking about offsetting stock gains or losses. If you have some stock gains, you could offset some of that taxes, but also if you have some losses, you could utilize those losses to help offset some future gains that you might have. So let's start by talking about if you have some realized gains, meaning that you already sold some stock. So let's just say you had some Tesla stock and you sold it at a gain of $15,000. Now, if you don't do anything by December 31st, that $15,000 is going to be fully taxable to you. However, if you're holding on to stocks with some losses, consider selling those because that loss will help offset some of that gain that you have. So to go along with the Tesla stock that you just sold at a gain of $15,000, let's just say you also hold on to some BP stock at a loss of $5,000. And you haven't sold it yet, but now because you see that you have this gain of $15,000, if you sell your BP stock loss at a $5,000 loss, then that loss will help offset that gain that you have from Tesla. So instead of paying taxes on $15,000, you could actually only pay taxes on $10,000 because the BP loss of $5,000 will minus against the gain of $15,000 from Tesla. So that's a $10,000 overall gain that you're paying taxes on. So by reducing it by $5,000, you can actually save around $1,200 in taxes, assuming that you're living in California with a high tax rate. You're going to be taxed at the 15% for long-term capital gains. Now, I do want to throw out a big disclaimer out there called wash sale rule. Because you sold the BP shares at a loss, there is something called wash sale rule where the IRS won't allow you to take the loss if you rebuy the stock or even purchase the stock 30 days before the sale or 30 days after the sale. So you just cannot buy the exact same stock within the 30-day window because IRS won't count that as a loss. I have an article that I wrote about it. You can see the link below regarding more details regarding wash sale rule. But be very careful if you decide to try to rebuy back that BP share because you think it's going to go up later. You should really hold off at least 31 days, or you could actually buy another stock that's in the same field like Chevron, where it's in oil as well. Maybe it's following the same trajectory of BP stock. So then you could just buy Chevron because that's a totally different stock. Whatever you do not buy more of the same exact stock within the 30-day window. So let's now go to the other end of it. Let's just say you actually sold stocks at a loss and you don't know what to do. So if you already sold stock at a loss, but then you're also holding onto these other shares with gains, it's possible you could sell those shares with gains to help have the loss that you already realized wash against the gains that you might want to sell. Meaning that the gains you're about to sell can avoid taxes because you're utilizing the losses that you're already incurred. So if you sold BP shares at $10,000 loss, if you watch my other video, it goes into explaining how IRS allows for some stock losses to be taken. So watch that other video to get more details about it. But in general, if you have a $10,000 loss, but you're also holding, let's just say, some Apple shares at a $5,000 gain, consider selling those Apple shares because even though it has a gain, it's not going to be subject to any taxes because the losses you have from BP shares are going to wash against it. So because you already sold the BP shares at a loss of $10,000, the Apple shares gain of $5,000 won't even get taxed at all. So your net result is a minus $5,000, and watch the other video to see how that is going to help offset some of your other income. So the trick is that in December, you're going to want to add everything up to see what your overall gains losses are from what you already sold. That way you could determine if you're holding on to other stocks with losses or gains, you could determine if you want to sell those losses by the end of the year to help offset some of those gains or losses depending on what you have. So if you have a loss, look for some gains that you might want to sell to help utilize the losses to help offset that gain. But if you have a gain, consider selling losses to help utilize the losses to offset that gain. I also have a couple links below that relates to the topic, so click on those to get a better picture of everything. And that's how you offset gains and losses with your taxes in regards to stock sales. I encourage you to talk taxes with other people and share this video if you think it might help someone else learn something. Subscribe if you haven't yet to get more of these updated videos. I'm off to my next video.